everyone, it's Allison. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making some colorful and interactive cards. And not just interactive, but pretty simple interactive. So here are the two cards that we're going to be making, and I used some products from the new Out and About collection from Spellbinders, which they're all small dies and they were meant to kind of celebrate the new little Scout die cutting machine from Spellbinders. So here's the first set. This is the Mushroom Mansion die set, and I've assembled it off camera. It's pretty simple to assemble. And here are some 2 panels from the Nested Postage labels and tag set. I've used this before and I love it. And I also stamped the blue panel. This is from Honeybee, called No Place Like Home. And I did stamp it with, I think it's called vanilla embossing powder, so it's not a stark white. All right, this is the Colorful Ink Spots paper pad from Pink and Main, and look at this. How fun is this paper? You know, I love my pattern paper. So I've already prepared a card base. I just have an off-white card base, and I selected some of that gorgeous paper. And we are going to be lighting this up. This is the Pear Blossom Press Easy Light. There are 3 lights on this particular one. And what a coincidence. I have 3 windows on my little mushroom mansion. So here's how this light works. You just slip the battery in to the little battery pack and you press the button, and I don't know if you can see those lights. There they are. And we're going to prepare everything else first. Now, this is the Interactive Labels stamp set from My Favorite Things. This is an oldie but a goodie. It has all kinds of words for interactive cards, and I have picked the word press, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out where I was going to place that battery pack, and I figured this upper right hand corner was the best place for it. So I have picked some ink from Pink Fresh Studio. It's called Paradise, and this is just going to be a tone on tone for the word press. You'll see it, but it's not going to stand out. Now I'm placing my house on the blue panel and marking the center of each window with a pencil. I need to make openings for the lights to show through because I'm going to place the battery pack and the lights on the back of all of this stuff. So I just grabbed a hole punch to start the holes that I'm going to cut. That just seemed like the easiest thing to do at the time. It would have been easiest if I could get at that middle hole. So I'm just going to grab my craft pick and then my craft knife to start the opening for that center hole. So then let's talk about this. I have this second mushroom that I have covered. The windows are covered with vellum. And I've colored the vellum with a yellow marker. Here's the yellow marker. And if you didn't know you could color vellum, you can. So that's what I did here. And when I put the other house on top, you'll see the yellow vellum through. And the vellum is going to let the light show through. That's the point of the vellum. And here I'm just finishing up the holes for the back. So now you can see that lines up and you can see through those windows. Now that I have the openings on the blue panel, I need to mark holes on that back cream colored panel. And again, I'm just going to mark the center. Now for these holes, I'm just going to use my craft pick. I don't need these holes to be large. I just need them to be big enough for those tiny little lights to show through. So just poking my craft pick through those holes is sufficient for that. And now I can start assembling. So I'm gluing that the main mushroom house on top of that back one. I remember that had the yellow colored vellum. And now I can glue this onto my blue panel. It's kind of hard to see if I was lining it up, so I do turn it upside down to make sure that those holes are lined up with the windows. And then finally I can glue my blue panel onto this stamp shaped panel. And now it's time for the lights. This is the fun part. I'm going to mount the battery pack first, and I'm just putting score tape on the back of it and pull the release tape off, or the release paper off. And I just need to make sure that the button is in the right spot, right behind where I had stamped that word press. And now I've zoomed in to show the actual lights. The light is like a tiny little yellow rectangle, and it's on one side of the wire. You want to make sure that the lights are shining through the openings, so you just keep that in mind when you're attaching the wires and the lights. And I'm just using regular Scotch tape to attach the wires. And again, that little yellow rectangular light is facing down. It's facing through the opening. And here I'm attaching the third light, and then I will turn it over and test it to make sure everything looks right. And there you go. How fun is that? And I got it right the first time. This really is so easy. Now I just need to secure all the extra wire in place. And sorry, excuse my voice. The wires are really flexible and forgiving, so I'm still just using my Scotch tape to do this. And now I have my foam tape out because that battery pack has dimension, right? So I have to build up the rest of this panel with foam tape. And it's okay that the foam tape goes over the wires. Again, I had already put Scotch tape on the wires. It's okay. And here I'm adding a second layer of foam tape because, again, that battery pack is taller or higher than just one piece of foam tape. I could have saved myself a lot of time had I thought about this and doubled the tape to begin with, but I didn't. So it was easy enough just to cut more pieces. And here's my panel all finished and ready to attach to my card base. All the foam is doubled up, so I can just release the paper, and I'm just eyeballing this to get in the center of that card base. And there we go. And now I turned the lights off in my craft room so you can see how fun these are. Isn't that fun? This was the second time that I've used these easy lights, and I'm definitely less intimidated by them now. It really is quite easy. So I encourage you to try them out. I bet you have something in your stash that would be fun to light up, right? Okay, let's look at this card now. I have another card base prepared with another piece of paper from that fun Pink and Main paper pad. Now I have the smallest tunnel die that we all know I'm obsessed with. This is a leftover piece from one of my tunnel cards. And I also cut a piece from some iridescent vellum. I know it looks misshaped because my scrap of vellum wasn't big enough, but it's going to be covered up by the other piece anyway, so that's okay. And here's Luna the Seahorse. Luna, again, is part of the Out and About collection. And I cut her from just some white cardstock. And I'm going to ink blend her with some Distress ink. I believe this is mustard seed to start out. And this is Worn lipstick. And I'm just putting some on the belly and a little bit on the mouth. Now I'm coming in with some fossilized amber just to darken up some of that yellow. And these are my Rainbow Splash brushes from Simon Says Stamp. But now I am coming in with my Waffle Flower Shader Plus brushes because With these, I can have a little more control getting into small areas. And I'm working on my mini stencil mat from Waffle Flower, which I love. And finally, I'm coming in with some picked raspberry just to brighten it up a bit. It was looking a little more orange than I had wanted. And by the way, the mini stencil mat, I believe, has been renamed. I think I had mentioned that in a recent video, but I can't remember what it was renamed. Whatever it's called, I love it. I use it all the time. Now it's time for some fun. Look at this. The new Distress Spritz from Tim Holtz. This is fossilized amber and picked raspberry, so two of the colors that I've already used on Luna. And I'm shaking it up. And this is the first time I'm using it, so I'm going to spray it away from her first just to see. Now, the difference between these Spritz sprays and the Distress mica sprays is these won't completely color your paper. They're more of an accent. Of course, that depends on how much you add. But I encourage you to watch the Tim Holtz video where he introduced these spritzes because it's an amazing video and he explains it a lot better than I ever could. So here I'm coming in with some picked raspberry. And I do believe I also used worn lipstick. So hopefully some of this shimmer comes across. Now I did get some splotches on her belly. It's a little too splotchy. So now I'm just playing a bit. I'm going to see what else I can do with this spritz. I took a paintbrush and I'm just using some of the overspray, and that's one reason I like spraying in this plastic container. Not only does it contain my spray, but it allows me to reuse it. So I'm just kind of trying to get a little bit more pink on the belly, and here I'm coming in with some yellow and just kind of softening up a little bit. And I don't think you're gonna be able to appreciate the shimmer on her, but it's there. All right, now it's time to assemble the card. I have finished assembling Luna off camera with her little tail. I don't know if it's the tail, fin, and her eye. Now here's the interactive feature for this card. These are action wobbles, and I have 2 packs. The one on the left was obviously too big, so I'm going with these. But they're still a little too big. So I'm just going to cut this. It's plastic. Well, one side is more of a sticker and one side is more plastic. So, I'm just trimming it down in order to fit on the back of her without it being seen. Now I can just remove the release paper. There's adhesive on both sides of this little wobbler. Basically, it's like a little spring. And so I'm attaching it to her, and then I can pull the other side of the release paper and then attach that to the card base. I always forget that I have these action wobbles, and then I see other people using them, and then I'm like, why don't I ever use those? And then I forget again. But I happen to be going through a drawer, probably looking for something I lost, and I saw these. So look at that. Isn't that fun? All right, this is the Typewriter Adventure Sentiments set. I've been using this a lot lately. This might be my new favorite stamp set. And these are black foam strips from Waffle Flower. This is another thing that I ran across recently in one of my drawers that I always forget about. Gosh, I just described half of the things that I own. Things that are in my drawers that I forget about until I happen to run across them. I really need to, I don't know, do I need to clean out my drawers? I don't know. Now I like putting my sentiments on wonky like this. I think it's more playful looking. And look at Luna. She's playing. Now I have some clear drops, which are my favorite go-to embellishment, especially for water-themed cards. And I have clear drops from lots of different companies. These particular ones are from Waffle Flower. And this is the Happy Birthday Wishes set. And I had some leftover scraps of paper that I didn't want to throw out. So I made an insert for the inside of my card. And these word dies are also part of the Out and About collection. So I thought that was a fun way to use them. And there's the card. And here's a quick look at a card that I made off camera. I thought it was fun. This is the Fresh Picked Labels and Tag set. So these are the little shapes that I used for some of the fun little things on this card. This actually features 4 of the other adorable die sets from the Out and About collection. Now I'll have details on my blog for this and both of the other cards as well. So you'll see which 4 sets I used to create this card. You can see the word die at the bottom. That's another word die set from the collection. And I love that little snail. How cute is that little snail? And the tree, I love too. Well, I love all of it. That's why I slapped it all on one card because I really couldn't decide which set to use. So I decided to just put them all on one card. And I think it worked out. I really wasn't sure at the time, but I do love the colors. So I hope that these cards bring a smile to your face today. I really appreciate you being here. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.